right, welcome back to another episode of Love, Death, and Movies podcast. I'm one of your co-hosts, Ash, and I'm joined by no other than Tom Cruise's best friend, the Harry Argyle. How are you?
Best friend, yeah, correct. Finally, I've been met with the correct title.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Tom's good. We're good. We're planning some
Glad to hear
stuff.
it.
It's just the nature of the beast.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, today we have a special guest, my friend AJ, also known as AJ Applejuice on TikTok. AJ, how are you doing?
My name is AJ, which is short for Angry Joe. You done fucked it up or something. I don't know. I'm really tired. Long day at work. Very busy for Civil War, even though I thought that was gonna do nothing. But you know what? It is what it is. I'm glad indies are doing something.
Do you work at
But
a Do you work at a cinema, AJ?
I do. I'm one of the managers.
Yeah,
And
nice.
Respect.
I guess it's like spring break right now where I am. And so like I had to deal with like several teenagers like trying to sneak in or like being disruptive. And like we just had lines upon lines and I'm just done. I am done.
Don't blame you. Well, we're happy to have you here, and hopefully this is less exhausting than working at the movie theater.
All right, we won't have anyone sneaking in here
No, definitely not.
unless
Let's hope
Cam tries
not.
to get back in. I swear to God.
There was a big bug in my room earlier. Maybe he'll sneak in.
Yeah.
Oh, hopefully not.
That was
Hopefully
a
not.
joke. Sorry. I don't know.
All good. Well, as the listeners know, it is April and we're continuing our discussion on A24 films. So today we're actually talking about the Joaquin Phoenix starring Come On, Come On. But before we get into that, as we always do, I will ask how your guys' week has been going. AJ, I was going to start with you. I feel like you kind of just maybe told us how your week was going, but anything else throughout the week that was a win for you?
Um, saw a bunch of movies.
Well, that's always
Uh,
fun.
oh, right before we started recording, I talked about the greatest hits a little bit. And you know what? That's probably going to be my most underrated movie of the year. If any of you on Letterboxd are listening, I am for shaming you for giving that a low score when it deserves all the scores. What is all the scores? I don't fucking know. But
All the scores.
what else did I see?
It's got 3.3
Saw
average. That's not bad.
Yeah, but it's higher.
You gave it 4. That's not that far
I,
off.
I I gave it 4, but you know what? You know what?
It could
It's
increase.
the greatest hit in my heart.
Nice.
Love it.
I saw Civil War yesterday, in IMAX, and what's funny about that was I I went with one of my friends, and literally I get movies for free, which means if I take a friend, I can get them in for free too. So I text my friend saying, "Hey, we can do this." He goes like, "No, I want to see an IMAX." And I'm like, "But we get him for free." "No, IMAX."
I respect that. It's
Motherfucker.
I respect it's
So
filmed with
basically,
IMAX.
and I already have ear problems. So basically, I had to watch the
Oh, fair.
entire movie with my AirPods in,
Oh,
and then every time I took an AirPod out to just give myself some air, which doesn't really make any sense. Give my ear some air, I guess. I don't know.
let your
I feel
ears
like
breathe.
sometimes you gotta do that. Yeah, exactly. The gunshots in that movie were loud as fuck. I don't know. I get it's a war movie, but like Alex Garland, like before he hits record, needs to think, how would AJ Ford react to
Right.
those sound? How would AJ react to that sound design? You know,
It's fucked up.
make movies for me. No, 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 don't actually do that. Don't do that. If everyone made movies for me, I would love every movie, but everyone else would think it sucks. Um,
Something for all of us. Well, sounds like a
uh,
pretty good week.
yeah, and it was a slow week at work except for today. So
All right. Well, we're
Nice.
happy to
I
have
missed
you.
the
It's
eclipse.
Friday. Oh, wow. I
Yeah,
didn't see
missed
much over
the
here on the West Coast anyways. It was pretty anticlimactic for me, but
Yeah, I didn't know if I needed to see New Moon or the first Twilight in order to
beforehand.
understand it, but
I think I heard that you do need to, yeah, you need to watch all of them before you. before you
But I
get
don't
to it.
wanna.
Harry, how's your week been?
Yeah, it's great. Works nuts, but is what it is. Good week is just like half the team's off and I'm just covering, which is okay. I got to go to a couple of premieres. I went to The Fall Guy at the beginning of the week. So that movie's filmed in Sydney, so they did an Australian premiere in Sydney, which is awesome. And they had a bunch of the cast there, a bunch of the crew. Goz wasn't. So
sad.
the rumors are continuing that no one's seen me and the Goz in the same room yet. So the rumors continue. But the best thing, because the entire stunt crew of that film is about 50 person strong, and every person was there. So the majority, about a third of the crowd was the stunt crew and their family and friends. So by the way, I adored the film. Go see my TikTok review. I gave it 4.5. Could go up. Probably won't, but 4.5. I think it's fantastic. But I think I'm biased because the screening that I had was one of the best cinema experiences I've ever had. Because every time a side Australian actor appeared, the crowd went wild. Every time a stunt happened on the movie, which is every like couple of minutes, the crowd went fucking ballistic. It's great. I was sitting in a row, and in the row in front of me, there was a couple of people. I was like, I think I recognize them. And I was talking to my mate. I'm like, I know them. I know them. We like looked up and we identified that it was Keegan Michael Key and Lakeith Stanfield.
So crazy.
Oh my god.
Yeah, which is sick because I'm like, I think that's Keegan Michael Key, but he had like a bit grey hair and he kind of like didn't look exactly like what I thought he would look like. But then we looked up and Shane Black was filming his next film in Sydney right now, and they're both in that cast. So we're like, that has to be them. Yeah, nice guys. Yeah,
Guys too?
yeah. Oh, if only.
Oh, I would lose my mind. Lose my mind.
Yeah,
That's so cool.
but yeah, then I went and saw Civil War again. I feel like Civil War this year is gonna be like Saltburn last year, where I fucking loved it, and not many other people loved it as much, which is okay. I'm happy to die on that hill. I saw it again last night, and it's just reaffirmed it for me. But other than that, it's a good week. Good week. How about
Nice.
yourself, Ash?
Oh, just a normal week. Well, I was just telling you about my long day on Wednesday. I was gone from like 7 to 10 p.m. It was very exhausting, but yeah, nothing exciting. I have not been to the movie theater more than like once this year. It fucking sucks. I've just been so busy.
Rookie
But
numbers.
tomorrow, I'm going to see Shrek 2. I'm not going to see Civil War. I'm not going to see any of the new movies. I'm going to see Shrek 2. So I'm very
Nice.
excited about that.
Based.
But yeah, so that's my week. So nothing really too exciting to highlight. So we can jump right into this film then. So again, we're talking about Come On, Come On, directed by Mike Mills, released in 2021. The brief synopsis of the story per Letterboxd is Johnny and his young nephew forge a tenuous but transformational relationship when they embark on a cross-country trip to see life away from Los Angeles. So this is the first time that Harry and I both have never seen the film before talking about it. So that's a first on the pod, AJ. So you're witnessing a first here for
History.
Love, Death, and Movies.
History.
Yeah, witnessing history. But before we break it down, I would love to know your relationship with this film, AJ, because you've logged this thing quite a few times. And
I haven't logged it enough.
yeah, and when we talked about doing this movie, you were the first person I thought of because I had saw your score and I also knew you logged it a bunch. But I have to call you out just a little bit because one of your reviews from January of 2022, it kind of made me laugh. Yo, does anybody have a podcast or something? I don't know. I just want to talk about this piece of fucking wholesomeness with random people and then hug them, even though I can't because we're talking through Discord.
Well, we can
love
virtual hug. All right.
Virtual hug. So your
hug.
dream is coming true just about
It
almost
is.
2.5 years later. So I love that we can be the ones to discuss it with you. So anyways, tell us about your relationship with this movie.
Well, first off, thank you for taking my Come On, Come On podcast virginity. The very first time I saw Come On, Come On, I was lucky enough to catch the premiere at the New York Film Festival. I don't know if I can't talk. I don't know if it was the premiere. I just like calling it the premiere because it sounds cool.
Yeah.
But I caught a screening at the New York Film Festival. Mike Mills made a surprise appearance.
That's cool.
Which made me like levitate.
Mm-hmm.
I idolize that man. Like I idolize his movies. Well, I shouldn't say that, man, because I don't know him. I don't want to idolize celebrities, but you get what I mean. But he came out, introduced the film. He was literally standing right behind me before they called him down to the stage to introduce the film. And I remember that day at the New York Film Fest was a very busy day, and Come On was my very first movie. It was at, I think, 11, and it was either 11 or noon. I can't remember. It was a couple years ago. But I watched the movie and I cried like a little bitch. It's one of those movies where I literally just stayed until the very end credits because like I just need to, you know, catch myself emotionally. And as I was walking out of the theater, I was literally saying to myself, should I just go home now? Because nothing's gonna top that. And basically, like that day was Come On, The Worst Person in the World, and Red Rocket. And those three movies ended up being my three favorite movies of that year. The Worst Person in the World is in competition for being the best movie theater experience I've ever had. Different topic. We're talking Come On. But yeah. A couple weeks later, Come On was announced at the Boston Film Festival. So I didn't have to drive 4 fucking hours to get there. Um, but I went to the Boston Film Fest and I took my best friend, and I just honestly wanted to basically just confirm that I was feeling the way I was feeling when I first saw it at the New York Film Fest. And sure enough, I was. This movie means the entire world to me. And even saying that, I think is a giant understatement. It is something that I think I will hold on to for the rest of my life. It had been a while since I was that moved by a movie. I had already loved every single thing that Mike Mills has done. I don't know if he'll top it, honestly. I
Wow.
love 20th Century Women.
Same.
I love Beginners. I even love Thumbsucker, which is his first movie. He even like this is how much of a fucking Mike Mills shill I am. I watched that he did like an album movie for the National. I Am Easy to Find, and it is fucking glorious.
I
Like it
love the
is
National.
one of the best short films that
Hmm.
I've ever seen. And you two got to get on that.
All right.
It is just spectacular. But yeah, Come On. Just what I love most about it was it uses the black and white to its full advantage. I see it as it's trying to look at the world as if it's created by a pencil sketch rather than just a painting. And I really think it fits that kind of aesthetic that the movie is going for,
Hmm.
if I do
Yeah.
say so.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. I love like that's what I love about film and talking to people is like seeing how passionate people are about certain films and how much they connect to them and just that like sort of like movie that can kind of change your life or stay with you forever. It's always so amazing to find those. A little nervous to lead the, discussion, breaking this down to somebody who has this movie meaning so much to them.
You
So
got to
I
do
hope
great at.
I do it justice. But yeah, I also really love this movie. But Harry, any initial thoughts on this one before we dive
Nah,
in?
I love that. You kind of see, come on, how I see National Treasure. So,
Okay,
where you're
nice.
like, this is my thing, like I fuck with that. To quote the great friend of the show, George Carmi, his review kind of stuck out with me when I finished watching this. He gave it 4.5, and he says, sometimes simplicity is the truest form of beauty.
Yep.
And I love that. I love
Mhm.
simple films. You know me, Ash. I've said this multiple times. I'm a simple film boy, or another word. Yeah, it's great. It's a great movie, and I feel like it's one that I finished watching it, and I instantly it was one of those movies I like straight away got on my phone and recommended it to about 10 people
Mhm.
that I think would actually appreciate it. It's one that I definitely see myself rewatching. I put it up there with like Francis Ha and
Yep.
movies like that, where it's very much just like a window of time of a look into a relationship.
Yeah.
And I love it when like all these beautiful cities that they go to, and even like the black and white, it's very much like the background, and the forefront is just this really simple relationship. It's not father and son or anything like that. It's just like that little bit step further of like uncle and nephew, where I'm an uncle and like if my brother, I got a brother, if my brother called me and said he was in the same situation with his wife, I'd be like, yep, cool, I'll be there. Like I know I would. So like watching this, I'm just like I could see this happening if I was in the same sort of circumstances. But me and my nephew are already fucking boys, so there's that difference. But
Yeah,
I destroy him in Mario Kart. He will never beat me. Sucked in.
that's great.
But yeah, that's how I kind of see this movie. It's like it's simple, but that's where the beauty comes from, and I think George said it best. What about you, Ash?
Yeah. No, I 100% agree. And just like you love closed setting, you love simplicity. I'm a
Of
sucker
course.
for black and white. I just, especially when it's used in a way that's beneficial,
Yeah.
like you said, AJ, it actually feels like it has a purpose and feels like it's telling a bigger story by doing it that way. And not just for the sake of trying to like look like it's an old film or something, for example. So
No.
yeah, I love this movie. I can definitely see it becoming even, one of my favorites the more I watch it, because I really love Mike Mills as well. 20th Century Women is one of my favorite movies. I just talked about this last week, Harry. It was on my
Yeah.
top coming of age list.
It's on my
And
watch
I
list
just
now.
think has got such a special style of writing characters and also telling stories from children's perspectives, which I am just like such an advocate for kids and listening to kids and what they have to say and like their outlook on the world. And so I just think that this movie really does that in like the most unique way I've ever seen done. It almost feels like you're watching like a documentary through half of it because you're getting to just
Yeah.
see these interviews of the kids. So yeah, I loved it.
Exactly. And one of the reasons why Mike Mills is one of my favorites is because I don't know, I feel like there are very few directors like him who actually give so much time and care for their characters. Like they just he just sees the good in every single one of his characters, but they're not flawless.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
like Joaquin Phoenix's Johnny, he has a lot of his own shit going on, and he really does not have a whole lot of time to just care for his nephew, despite the fact that, his father is being institutionalized and his mother can't really be around. And the kid is just someone who is very, very intelligent, but just hates his mother for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And that's one of my favorite scenes in that movie is when the kid is just like regurgitating to Johnny, saying like all of the shit that he has been through with his mother, and they're all just like assumptions about her. And then it ends with, the kid cry. I keep forgetting the kid's name. Isn't it
Jesse.
like
Yeah.
Jesse?
Yeah. And
Thank
we're gonna
I-
break it down. So I'll go through all the character names and
Yeah.
everything. So
Sorry.
Jesse though, yeah.
Yeah, it ends with Jesse just breaking down, saying, I want my mom,"
Mm-hmm.
or something like that.
Yeah.
It's that kind of like immaturity going back to his childhood innocence. Immaturity, like thinking he's in the right and that he's smart and all this, but then realizing he like legitimately cannot like function without his mother.
Yeah. No,
Exactly.
yeah, that's a great point. And a great call out to, yeah, definitely a very impactful scene. Well, I can start the breakdown, Harry, unless you have any other thoughts.
I just love how I'm not a Mike Mills fan, but I'm sort of well versed in his work, and I'm definitely after this going to become much more. I do just like how he gives respect to the audience to kind of figure shit out on their own. And like gives respect to his characters, like you were saying with Jesse. Like I'm sure you'll get into it, Ash, but just to quickly touch on it, of like the scene where he's where Joaquin kind of lets slip of like your mother's taking care of your dad, and he's like, why doesn't he be taken care of? And he goes, is it like what it used to be? And you're like instantly like you don't get told like, oh, Jesse's gone through all this. Is like, or instantly you're already told like you already get it. You're like Jesse's a lot more intelligent than you think they are, which is majority of children. They're little fucking sponges. Those little pieces,
Yeah, they don't get nearly enough credit. That's for sure. Okay, well, let's dive in. So I broke this into 3 sections because I feel like that just fits best.
Have you got good names for each section?
Harry, don't even start with me. Section 1, from Detroit to Los Angeles.
There we go. All right, that's a 8 out of 10.
Okay, thanks. So we open to Johnny, played by the incredible Joaquin Phoenix. He's talking, asking questions, sort of about life. We learn that he's a journalist. We see Detroit flash across the screen, and he is conducting interviews. I'm calling it with his crew. I don't know if they're his employees or just his assistants. I don't know, but they're
Partners,
his
yeah.
crew. Calling it the crew. They're interviewing young children. I'm guessing these kids are probably up to about like age 13. We don't actually know exactly how old they are, but they're young teenagers, younger children,
Hmm.
asking things like, will the future be better? What are your hopes for the future? I just immediately like love this concept of asking kids their like thoughts on the world. He records himself at the end of each day and kind of like walks through his thought process, sort of like a self-recording of how his day went and obviously how the interviews went, which I think is really interesting. Says he came to Detroit to talk to young people and ask them what they thought their lives would be like, how it's changing for them. We then meet Johnny's sister, Viv, who's played by the underrated, amazing Gabby Hoffman. Shout out Uncle Buck, all the way back to
Yes,
like
I
her
knew I
being 7 years
recognized her
old.
for Uncle Buck.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and we find out that their mom had passed away a year ago. And so it's sort of interesting. This movie has them sort of recounting this memory while they're on the phone. So we already kind of get an idea of how the like style of this movie is going to be, which I think is really cool, where we see people having conversations, but then we're also seeing kind of like memories and things in the past, which I think is a really cool way to tell the story. So we find out he hasn't seen his nephew Jesse in that year since the mom passed away. And then we find out that Viv is going out of town soon because his dad, Paul, is in Oakland and needs help. We don't really know the extent of why he's living, obviously, elsewhere, but obviously we find out later. And Johnny asks her who's watching Jesse. And then next thing we know, we flash to Los Angeles. So it's pretty quick. I think it's like the first 11 minutes is in Detroit, and then we jump straight to LA. So we do finally get to meet Jesse, who's played by the super talented and charismatic Woody Norman.
What a
So
great
cute.
name.
Love that kid.
Oh yeah.
So great. So this is the beginning of obviously Jesse and Johnny's relationship, and really obviously Johnny getting to learn like who Jesse is, how he operates, how his brain works. I think you can kind of infer that they haven't spent a lot of time together at this point. Like obviously it's his uncle. They maybe spent some time together in the past, but probably nothing that was very in depth. And then we get this amazing moment at the dinner table where Jesse's talking about trees communicating with each other and how they're connected, like through an underground world of fungus. You're going to get so many more stories from him, but I just love that we get to see a little glimpse of like how this kid's brain works. And he
Yeah.
just has these like really like out there creative ideas, which it reminded me of like hanging out with my nieces when they're that age. They just start rambling on about the craziest things. And you're just like, wow, yeah,
Yeah.
that's really cool. Love that.
Like the slightly less intelligent Jimmy Neutron.
Yeah.
Yeah, love that.
Bless her.
I love this part where Viv tells Johnny before she leaves. I'm going to read the whole quote because I just think
Yeah,
it's
go
so
ahead.
great. Brace
Sure.
yourself. There's this little orphan who likes to come visit me. In fact, he'll probably come visit you. And he likes to pretend that I have some dead children. And he asks me a lot of questions about what they did so he can do those same things. And Johnny says, that's fucked up.
That's fucked up.
And I love that she tells him this is a normal thing. This is normal things that kids do. Like, it's fine. Don't worry. Which that obviously comes up at a different time later in the movie where he does try to kind of play that orphan role. So just kind of a little inkling again into Jesse and kind of like how his mind works. And then we get to the next morning, he's listening to like opera, symphony music, blaring it, I should say. And his mom's already left. And Johnny comes down and asks him to turn it down. He says, it's Saturday. I get to be loud on Saturdays. Amen, Jesse. I fuck with that. I also like to be loud on Saturdays. Why not?
Amen. Amen.
Johnny teaches him about the recording equipment and the microphone and kind of how it all works. And I love this shot where they walk on Venice Beach. This location has been used in so many movies, but I've never seen it in black and white, which I just think it looks even prettier somehow in black and white than it does like in regular color. And then we start seeing Jesse being, curious about adult things. He's asking Johnny some tough questions he's not prepared to answer. Continuing to just kind of get into the mind of this child, which is just fantastic. And then we kind of flash through this section of the movie, flash back to them caring for their mom and her being sick in the hospital. Because every time that Viv and Johnny kind of talk on the phone, they kind of recount like their life and their kind of, sequence with their mom. This part about them talking about their mom and like kind of how their relationship with her was different, just like absolutely broke me. I'm the only daughter with a brother, and I just feel like I could relate so much to this moment. But when she says, I needed your help, you're losing a mom who adored you, she just did, and I'm losing one who never understood me. I think that line is just like,
Yep.
oh, it just hurt me so much. But I think it's really important to watch these siblings like have these conversations. I really enjoyed their relationship throughout the movie. Um, and then did I skip a section? No, I didn't. Okay, sorry. And then we get Johnny telling Jesse about how he used to be in love, about Louisa. He starts asking him questions about if he's married. And that's always a fun question to talk about with kids. I get him to understand like love and marriage and how does it all work. He asks him like, why aren't you married? And he talks about how love is complicated and it can be tough to express over time. He's like, you love a person, they love you back. And then one day it's hard to keep loving them quite the same. It's just kind of like those really like realistic adult conversations. And he has no clue how to navigate this, obviously, with a child. He's never had to do this before. And then I love that moment where we get the story about the polar bear family and we flash back to the moments of him and his mom and dad, especially the moments with him and his dad. I just find it to be like so special to watch because you kind of get to hear it, but it's mostly voiceover. So you sort of are just watching it. You're not really like hearing their conversations. And then you kind of get to see what their life was like before his, issues and his health and his mental health, obviously. They're playing, having fun, and I just think those moments are so sweet.
I love how sorry, I didn't mean to
okay.
interrupt. I was just about to say, like, I love how you see that the father like truly, truly, truly loved his son.
Yeah.
And I think that the fact that he had to be like institutionalized because he legitimately was so like mentally unwell that it ended up being dangerous not only for himself but for him. Like I think that's one of the most heartbreaking aspects of the film because that happens a lot more than you think in a lot of other families. And also Scoot McNairy.
Yeah, I was about to say shout out to Scoot McNairy because I thought he was a sublime little role here. Who everyone knows.
Is that Scoot, the dad?
Yeah, everyone knows Scoot McNairy from his award-winning performance in Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice.
Well, I was gonna say I didn't put it in my notes, but I was thinking while I was watching it that the small amount of screen time that actor had and the little amount of words he actually spoke that we really hear, he portrayed a person in that situation so authentically, and I think that's so impressive that he committed so much to that role. But I'm actually done with this section, so I will stop here. You guys can tell me your favorite lines, favorite scenes, anything else that kind of pulled you in the first chunk of the movie. So AJ, if you have anything else to add to that, since you were already talking, go ahead.
I don't really have much to add.
Okay.
If being totally honest, yeah, Harry, you can go ahead. I'll see if I bounce off you.
No, for sure. Yeah, no, I love the way this starts. I love how because you go towards like a normal Hollywoodized relationship between like an uncle and a nephew, and the nephew's always kind of reluctant to like kind of learn anything off him or anything like that. Jesse straight away is so real because it's identical to how my nephew is with me. AJ, I work in movie marketing. And I've got a nephew. I've got two nephews, but one's 7, so the other one's 4. So he's kind of like Donnie out of the Wild Thornberries, and then the 7-year-old is like a cognizant human being. And he always just asks me about my work, and of like because my brother tells him, it's like, oh, he worked on this campaign, and he's just like, why is this one good? And we'll talk. I was like, I used an example for like one that I didn't work on because I wasn't old enough, of course, is the Simpsons movie. I was like, and because I'm like, he'd like that. I can't really talk about Smiles one, he won't really fuck with that one. But like, I was talking about like how important this is and stuff, and he's just there like learning, and then he'd like go and tell his dad about it, and I'm like, these kids are fascinated by adult shit, and like their brains are sponges, and I think that's really well represented with Jesse, and even just like the questions that he has for, what's Joaquin's first name?
Johnny.
Even the questions he has, it's like identical to what I get. Like I went to Christmas lunch, and Callum's my eldest nephew, and Callum's just like, "Where's your wife?" And I was like, in North Pole, Cal, in the North Pole. We very much still get those, questions. But
Yeah.
I do just love how I've said it so many times already, but how simple this is. That like it's just a simple story. There's nothing too crazy, but it's just a family issue that a lot of people have, and it's just a family favor. Like he probably wouldn't do this for a friend, but because it's his sister and they love each other and they haven't seen. I love this that they haven't seen each other for so long, but they still equally respect and there's no animosity about it. They still respect and love each other, which I think is beautiful. But the relationship is so easygoing with this kid, which I love. It's like it's not just like they could easily add 20 minutes where he has to win this kid over, but it's immediately it's just like here's how to use the audio equipment and the kid becomes obsessed with it.
Yeah.
I love that.
That's so realistic though, because I mean, I have 5 nieces and
Jeez.
the youngest one is 11 now. So
Christmas
I feel like
is
they're
expensive for Ash.
yeah, tell me about it. I feel like I'm past that phase where like they're as much of like a sponge wanting to like pick and like pry at me to learn things. I feel like they're a bit more like leave me alone. I'm like a preteen now.
So no more Donnies? No more Donnies?
Yeah, right. But I feel like things about kids that are so true is that a lot of times they are very accepting. And I don't want to go too much into it because it comes up later in the movie, but yeah, he does just accept Johnny like immediately. There's no judgment. Like that's the thing I love about this movie is it's focused on children's perspective because they are so innocent in the sense that they don't like see that judgment. They don't like need to sit there and like really question somebody for 20 minutes. They sort of just accept you as you are and just kind of want to be around you. So I think it's great.
Do you think oh sorry, you go, AJ.
Sorry.
No, you do.
I think Jesse kind of had the mentality of like I'll respect you if you just kind of respect me and my interests.
Yeah.
You know, like that quote that Ash read out and Johnny says that's fucked up. Like obviously I can't remember that line
About
word
being
for
the
word.
orphan, yeah.
Yeah. I would assume sorry, I lost my train of thought.
They're like how Jesse wants him to succumb to like his way of living sort of thing.
Yeah, basically. And, you know, blaring classical music like all over the house and Johnny's just like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck is this? And Jesse's like, no, fuck you. Like, I'm allowed to be loud.
Yeah.
Like, I haven't judged you a single second when you walked in the door.
Yeah.
Like, I might be less intelligent Jimmy Neutron, but you know what? Fucking let me be.
Yeah.
Do you reckon I can be loud on Saturdays? Do you reckon that's real? Because like I saw that as like he's trying to like test the boundaries with Johnny because like kids do that. Like I took care of my nephew and like for a day last year. I've taken him. It's not just one day, but this specific day, and it was like, and we went and he's obsessed with Pokemon. And we go up to like the store that sells Pokemon cards, and they're like $3 a pack. They're nothing. And I'm like, how many do you normally get? He goes, about 5. I'm like, okay, cool, 5, so that's $15. I'm like, no worries, done, and gave it to him. And now I got a call from my brother later on. He's like, why did you give him 5 packets? And I was like, that's what he said he got him. He goes, I give him one every 2 weeks. And I'm like, he fucked me, but like, well done. Like, you got to respect the game. He's a little hustler.
Oh my God.
I think that's so true because I think that's the same thing as saying like, my mom lets me have ice cream when I'm,
that's what I think.
It's the same kind of mentality. So I didn't take it so literally. I definitely think it's more of he's sort of testing him, but also sort of just like, I'm going to shoot my shot and say, no, I'm allowed to do this on Saturdays. So like, don't like, leave me alone. Let me do my thing.
Radical thing of like Saturday mornings, you can be loud. It was like, that's what I thought. It was just like, I thought he was just testing the boundaries a bit. I liked it.
And I love how he's not too extreme about it. Yeah. Like blaring classical music, like, that can be something that can be allowed, I assume, in some households.
It's not the worst thing for a kid to be doing.
No. I've blared movies and music when I was growing up. My parents didn't love that, but I did it.
Mine was more like Britney Spears and NSYNC, but same.
Oh,
same
Ash, you have not met middle school AJ. Middle school AJ was a metalhead.
Love that. Love that. All right. Well, if you guys would like, we can continue on to our next location. So,
what's the pod called, Ash?
Section 2, The Adventure to New York City.
8.5.
He likes to grade my section names if you can't
Yeah.
tell.
Yeah.
'Cause he's the master of naming our parts of our films. So I do the best I can. You
Hey,
know, I'm
8.5.
not the creative mind.
If you go home with 8.5, that's an incredible score.
I'll take it. It's a B.
Yeah.
7.
All right. So before we actually get to New York, we flash to Oakland, which is where Viv is visiting Paul, the dad, and she vents to Johnny on the phone about how difficult it's been and how he, won't get help and he won't check himself in, and he's like just sort of been very, stressed and just kind of having like a major episode, and that's really been hard on her. One thing I also want to note at this part that I thought was really interesting and I've never seen done in a movie is that when the text messages are coming through, they just flash the words almost like subtitles, and there's no ding, there's no phone sound. You don't even really see like an image of a phone like you do in some films where like it flashes like a text message style bubble. I love that. It was so
Yeah.
clean and like so visually satisfying and so easy to just like go into the phone call or into that part of the movie because it, I don't know, it just felt really seamless. So
It's very
I thought it was really
simple.
cool.
It's very,
Very
simple.
simple.
It confused me at first, but then
Yeah.
like once I realized what it was doing, I was like, Mike Mills, you have always had
Right.
the fucking sauce.
Yeah, I thought it was great. So yeah, they discuss it and she asks him to stay longer, and he ends up agreeing. So then we flash to Jesse and Johnny sitting on the beach, playing in the sand. They're just having a conversation. He asks him if he's ever been to New York City. Very long shot that this kid's been to New York City. He's like 9 years old. But I thought it was kind of funny. He's like, have you ever been to New York City? So casual.
But he's
And-
talking to him like an adult, which I
Yeah,
think
exactly.
is really
Which I
important.
love. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they talk about New York, and Johnny tells him, or ask him if he ever finds all the sand and the beach and the bodies boring, looking at the ocean and kind of all the people on the beach. And Jesse's like, no. And then he tells him he should come to New York City with him. And then we have Johnny telling his sister, because you should probably tell the mom before you tell a kid. Because as we know, once you tell a kid something, it's happening. So she basically insinuates immediately that he already told Jesse. And she's just like, why would you tell a kid that he can go to New York City? But she does eventually agree to it. I love the moment when he tells her, don't worry. And she just laughs. Like, I love that laugh that she does because I feel like it's so typical of like any mother would have that reaction. Like, yeah, okay, I'm not going to worry about my kid going across the country with my brother that doesn't have a kid, doesn't know how to take care of a kid. But I think like deep down, she kind of trusts both of them because obviously she agrees to it and she kind of knows that she has something bigger kind of to take care of where she is. So.
I think it's also like she needs to take a kind of a step back. He's trying. He's like, I'll take care of him, but I have obligations. I have to go to New York. I'll take him with me. I'll make sure he's all good. And she's still got issues with him. It's like, and he's like, I'm like there being like, he's trying to help you here. He's doing the absolute best he can, but he can't just say no to. He's got a job. Like,
well, he lives there. Yeah, I mean,
what do you
it's his
expect
life.
from him? Like to stay in LA until you know when you can come back, which is such a flip of the coin. That's what I got a bit annoyed by her then, to be honest.
I feel like I kind of empathize with her. I don't know. I
As
feel
a mother,
like
I get it, but
yeah, I mean, obviously I'm not a mother, but I feel like being around like my sister-in-laws or just my mom, like there's just that worry that a mother has constantly. And so to think about your kid going across the country, even with a family member, is definitely not like something you take lightly, I guess I should say. And she's already stressed about what's going on.
yeah, she's already
with,
stressed. That's a good point.
Paul, so
That's a good point. But yeah,
I think her mindset was like, listen, like I have this obligation, but now you're just like throwing more shit at me.
yes.
You're taking my fucking 9-year-old child across the country. What the fuck do you think you're doing? And then of course he has to do some convincing.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, you know what? Fine, just make sure he doesn't do anything stupid.
yeah. But at the same, like I would also say, like in her mind, she should have thought, like, of course, her first priority right now, because she's taken her time away from her son. The first priority is the husband, but her son would also always be on her mind, and she can't be expecting her brother to stay in LA. Like that's just so unrealistic.
I don't think she does. I genuinely think it's just like a normal reaction.
I think, and then she calls him back.
And worrying.
When she calls him back, she's obviously thought about it, so it might have just been like a spare of the moment sort of reaction, which I get, and that is realistic. But yeah,
I also think she wants her brother to have like some kind of experience, like in some way, shape, or form, raising a kid or like spending time with her nephew. So I think that's kind of what like makes her cave and say,
Yeah.
you know what, fine, do whatever you want.
Yeah, like
Agreed.
a little bit more responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So, okay. So before we get to New York, we do get this beautiful essay that he reads about mothers. And this is kind of a theme throughout the whole movie. We get these,
Right.
words across the screen. I'll be honest, I did not have time to type every single one of them out, so I don't have the full titles. But here we get the one about mothers, which I think is just like so beautiful. And we get to see moments of Viv and Jesse kind of flashing back to some, time of her kind of, mothering him throughout his. It doesn't seem like it's that far back in time. I'm assuming it's, recent memories, but I do love that they do this every time they read these essays. You get these flashback moments. I think it's just really special. It's a way to help us get to know the other characters and the family dynamic without having to actually create that extra 20 minutes that you were talking about, Harry. It's like we get to kind of know all we need to know in that like 90 seconds of him reading, and we just kind of get to watch. So I think it's a really unique way.
Yeah. Respects the
Yep.
audience.
Doesn't treat us like we're idiots. I love it.
Exactly.
Okay, so they arrive by flight in New York City, and I feel so dumb because up until this point, I thought they were going to be going on a road trip. I don't know. I read the description of the movie in my mind, like
That makes
cross-country trip. I thought road trip. So I'm kind of glad that wasn't the case because it ended up being perfect. But I got a little confused at first. So yeah, they fly to New York, and they just kind of start going out and exploring using the audio recording equipment. And then they go to dinner with the crew. Roxanne and I can't remember what the other person's name is. And I love where Jesse's starting to tell them that he loves like conspiracy theories.
Yeah, I loved that.
Never heard a 9-year-old say that, but he's like telling all these crazy stories. And the crew is just like eating it up, just like loving Jesse, thinks he's so funny, so cute. And you can just see Johnny getting so stressed, like trying to get him to eat the noodles, but he's trying to eat the ice cream, and just that normal kind of like parental situation where everyone else thinks they're so cute and funny. And you're just like, oh my God, can you stop? Can you please shut the fuck up right now? Please do what you're told. So I think it's kind of interesting to watch that dynamic because they spent a little bit of time together now. So it's kind of starting to feel a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah.
So then we have Roxanne asking Jesse, are all your friends like you? And he's like, that's a big no.
Yeah, I loved
which
that.
I think was really cute the way he says that.
Yeah.
So we kind of see them continuing to bond throughout this time in New York. Obviously, they're going through difficulties with communicating, figuring each other out. We had that moment where Jesse keeps Johnny up all night because he can't go to sleep, and he's just like talking his ear off. Of course, Johnny's so tired. They've had a time change. They, traveled all day. And then he's hitting them with some hard questions, asking about how his mom was as a girl, including something that she did as a teenager that Johnny didn't even know himself. I'm not sure I want to say it out loud, but was not ready for a 9-year-old to ask about that. And Johnny's like, I didn't even know about that. So just kind of continuing to see that Jesse is really not dumb. Like he really has obviously absorbed so much. He has obviously heard his parents talking about things or just really observed a lot of things. And it kind of starts to feel like he's a bit more mature than he's kind of given credit for.
Big time.
So then we have more interviews being conducted, and now Jesse's tagging along with them while they're doing their interviews. So in New York, they're focusing on interviewing children of immigrants, which I think is really cool. The kid talking about not being able to cry, and his mom telling him that you don't cry. I literally, that's the first moment in the whole movie where I actually started crying. I just thought that was so sad. I just wanted to give him a big hug. I love that we get to see like little sections here that's not even about our main characters, just like bigger themes about life.
Yeah.
Like how kids are raised and how like boys are told like don't cry. Like you're not a man if you don't cry. You're weak if you cry.
Yeah.
I just love that it's focused on the children's perspective and not the adults at all. So yeah, that moment was fantastic. And then we have their first real fight. This is where Jesse pretends to be lost and freaks Johnny out really bad. He yells at him. That was kind of like the first time he like really yells at him. And they have to overcome this. It's kind of like their first like real hurdle, I guess, in their relationship together. So he talks to his sister and she sort of explains to him that you just need to talk to him like straight, like talk to him like a person, tell him how much it scared you and like apologize, which I don't know how things are for you, Harry, but I don't know. The way that I was raised, parents don't apologize. I don't know that my parents ever apologized to me for any of their behavior. So I was just impressed to see parents apologizing. That was quite special to me to think that more modern day parenting could actually include that. So
they'll never accept defeat.
never. So yeah, I love that moment. And then we do have Jesse finding out more about his dad. I don't have like all the lines here, but you guys were kind of talking about it earlier, or you were, AJ, where he starts to kind of question like what's really wrong with my dad? Like has that, kind of, I guess, wonder in him of like, I know something's not right. Like, why would my mom not want to be with me? Like, why is she gone? Why is she like away? Like he's kind of knows that there's got to be something more to it. So
He has to
um,
like tiptoe around it.
yeah, he's definitely starting to like really like question. He doesn't want to be told some story. One thing that I just want to note that I love in this film is how Johnny notes that the children are subjects worthy of time and attention. Again, just really highlighting how important kids' perspectives are, which we don't really see in a lot of films at all.
Yeah.
And one thing I'll note here, I think it's a good time to bring it up, is that Mike Mills specifically casted two child actors to play the adults in this movie because they had that experience growing up in this industry as kids, and they can have kind of like that special sort of like approach to it, to playing the more parental figures in his life. So I don't know if you guys, I mean, I think you knew about Gabby Hoffman, but Joaquin Phoenix is also a child actor. So kind of a cool little thing that he did there.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We get to watch more of their bond, trust kind of being built in this section. This is kind of the longest section of the movie, so I feel like we really get to see the most of their relationship building, testing each other, which is really cool to watch them become closer. And then we finally get to the point where we confirm that the dad is getting checked into a facility to get help. Kind of all of the like information is finally kind of coming out there, and I feel like Jesse's not quite as much in the dark anymore, which is good. But obviously, that is not something that he's going to process very well. So then we have the scene where he takes the call from Roxanne about having to go to New Orleans, and Jesse's trying to get his attention. He's like circling around him. You can just see Johnny's really flustered. That scene is shot really well. It's very busy around them. It's very chaotic. It feels like a real life situation where you might have a parent who could lose their kid. You have so many things going on in that moment. It happens every single day. So this is the time where Johnny gets flustered and kind of loses him for real, I would say. Like it's a little bit closer to actually losing him than the first time. So he runs around, obviously panicked, looking for him, ends up finding him across the street near a bus stop. Johnny grabs him and they get onto the bus. Well, he kind of follows Jesse onto the bus and he tells him he doesn't need him. And then we have him talking to his sister again and kind of telling her what happened. And I love that she doesn't like judge him. She doesn't get angry at him for almost losing her child. She's just like, dude, nobody knows what they're doing. Like, I love that line because it's so true. None of us know. Parents don't know. Nobody knows. We're all just trying to figure it out. And I think as a mom and sister, like that was such a real moment to like not be judgmental and just try to be understanding and kind of help him understand that experience is normal. And that she's not perfect either.
I love how in the first time he pretends to go missing, like he just does it because he's a kid. He's joking around. But like he just wants to maybe make his uncle laugh or maybe just make himself laugh.
Mm-hmm.
But when he does it and it's like actually a lot more dangerous, like later on, he does it to kind of prove a point that his uncle doesn't really like notice him or even really care about him. And like when he finally finds Jesse during like the busy street, Jesse's just like screaming at him, just like, why weren't you watching me? Or like something along those lines. Yeah. And you could see like that Johnny, like through his facial expressions, like kind of understands where Jesse's coming from. So he just kind of like tries to retract that anger.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I didn't actually write all of those moments down, but I think you got the line exactly right. He does say like, why weren't you watching me? And just like, he's like screaming, but he's also like emotional. Like he's upset. And I think you have hit the nail on the head as far as the reasoning behind each time that it happens. And I didn't actually write it down here, and I wish I did because you were bringing it up earlier, but this is also kind of the chunk where he talks about like, I want my mom, and kind of like breaks down kind of, I guess, how he feels about his mom. That kind of all happens at the time when he's finding out about his dad. So this chunk of the movie, as we get like closer and closer to like the end of their New York experience, gets really raw and like really emotional. And I think the movie is just flawless at this point in the film. So yeah, basically he has a conversation with his sister, and then we go back to his place. We end up we seeing him sort of giving up. He packs, and he kind of just is not able to. He doesn't feel like he can take care of it anymore, and I think he feels guilty for what just happened. Obviously, with being that afraid and kind of losing him, making him not feel safe with him. So I think in a way, as much as Johnny isn't necessarily wanting to get rid of Jesse, I think he's upset with himself. So Jesse doesn't understand. Obviously, he's not happy. We see it on his face on the way to the airport, and he says, "My stomach hurts. I have to poop," which is such a thing that a kid would say. Honestly, I just thought that was kind of a cute little moment. This movie actually has a lot of funny moments where I laughed out loud, specifically because of Jesse. So they find a bathroom, and it's, of course, like everything in New York, it's always a single bathroom. Usually you don't get like a bathroom with like a ton of stalls in it. So he goes in by himself, he locks the door, and you just see Jesse sitting there with his clothes on, just sitting on the toilet seat. He's obviously just trying to buy time. He doesn't want to leave. So they kind of have this conversation through the door, and he says he doesn't want to go home, and he ends up kind of apologizing. And I think you can kind of see a turn in Johnny, and he kind of just like sighs, and he's like, "Okay, wait here." And he goes and gets the bags and brings them in, and they decide to stay. So that's where I'm going to end this section. This was a huge chunk of the movie, so I apologize for talking so much.
No, you're great at
this is my favorite chunk of the movie. I think is here in New York. I'm also a sucker for movies set in New York, so that probably doesn't help. It just makes it better for me. But what do you guys think? Anything else? I know we've talked about some, but anything else that stands out here? Any other favorite moments, favorite lines, or anything with these characters?
I love. You go first.
Sorry, go on, Harry.
No, you go first.
I should have said. Sorry, I should have said. AJ, you go ahead.
It's fine. Yeah, I think this is when the movie went from great to marvelous for me, because you really just start like it's not even just like that those like typical cliched movies where they're estranged at first, but they start to become friends and everything's lovely. Like no, like this is the moment where you start to realize that they have some pretty deep shit going on.
Yeah.
And like, of course, Johnny has had a lot more life experience than Jesse, but you find out that Jesse is like far more mature than Johnny will probably ever be in his life. Like he knows a lot more about what goes on in the world. Like apparently a lot more than Johnny or even his mother or even his father. Basically any adult figure that he comes across. Like when he's spewing all of those conspiracy theories. Like I have no idea like what kind of child would just immediately understand any of that. But the way he just like starts going off about it, and the adults are just kind of like laughing it off, going like, "Huh, that's cute." Like as I'm watching the movie, I'm just like, "Wow, this kid like, I don't know like what he's actually been through within his life. Like we don't really see quote unquote like what his life was like with his mother and father, but the fact that he just knows all of that is kind of astounding. And Mike Mills just kind of makes it so it's believable.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, there are child prodigies out there. I don't know. But yeah, but I also just love how, even though he's like this very, very smart, mature kid, he is still a kid. And between all of that, Johnny just kind of has to realize that, even though he's this very, very mature kid, he's still a kid. Like, of course, he's gonna like try to fuck with him, like in any way, shape, or form. And like I mentioned, like the first time he just did it as a joke, thought it was hilarious, just goes missing in the general store. But then, like, again, like this kid like notices a lot more than we may think, so he just goes missing again, but this time in like a more populated area where like quite literally anything can happen to him. Mm-hmm. And he just does it to make a point. And immediately like that point is made, and Johnny just kind of has to accept that this kid does not like, you know, who he is. And I think this is like a very, very good allegory for some kind of childhood depression.
Mm.
Like you realize that you realize very early on that the kid is very mature, but during this section, you realize he kind of needed to mature because he kind of had an adult childhood, if that makes sense.
Yeah, makes complete sense.
Yeah.
Wow.
Um,
No, that's good.
yeah, that's my thoughts. You can go
I
on.
love
Harry.
everything you just
No,
said.
Well, thank you.
Harry?
I wish I went first because I can't really follow that up. But no, I agree with everything. I think this section is kind of just like the Woody Norman masterclass.
He should have been nominated.
Yeah, he's great in
He
this.
should have been.
I think what's most prevalent is that this kid is British, and he puts on an
Wow.
American accent for the entire film.
I would have never been able to tell.
Right? Yeah, that's nuts. But one thing we haven't touched on is like whenever the mother calls, the little conversations she has with Jesse, I think are really prevalent to how Jesse sees that part of his life. Of he doesn't want to go home because he doesn't want to go back to that world where like he knows what's happening with his dad. He's a smart kid, and I think that's kind of what is like the barrier of him. He's not ready to go home yet. And he keeps wanting to live out in this fantasy land in New York with his uncle. So that was like the part that really got me, and just that shot of him in the bathroom, and Johnny's like, "You don't need to go to the bathroom anymore." He's like, "Nope." He's just sitting there. Nope. I think that's
Just
really
arms crossed, pants fully on.
yeah. But at the same time, Johnny again treats him like an adult and goes, "All right, sure, all right, we're doing this, sure." Also, how much are flight tickets from New York to LA?
It's not cheap.
Too fucking much.
Yeah,
It's not cheap. I mean, I've flown. I don't live in LA, but I've flown from California, and it's
What?
I don't know. It's probably like $500.
So what are
Let me-
these parents doing for money? Like,
So let me give you a
nuts.
perspective, Harry. So my best friend recently moved to DC a couple years ago, and to visit him, in order to get like a round trip ticket from Massachusetts to DC, that's an hour-long flight. Tell me why I had to spend $400
That's USD
for
as
an
well.
hour-long
Yeah.
flight.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's
Yeah.
nuts. Yeah. Wow, fuck that. I thought you were going to do like the road trip out of Civil War, to get
No,
to
the road
DC.
trip from vacation.
Oh, yeah, better. Yeah, nice. But yeah, no, like I think this section's fantastic. I don't really have anything else to say that hasn't been said, but you guys have said it perfectly. But I do just think this section is really a Woody Norman masterclass, and I think that is really helped by having Joaquin to bounce off.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, I think
This
they're
is
both
like-
fantastic.
This is like a really like I honest to God think Woody Norman in this movie gives my favorite child performance just of all time.
Wow,
Like this is actually a very difficult performance to pull off.
I agree.
And-
I think it's more like human. It's more real.
It's real,
Whereas
yeah.
something
Exactly.
like Tatum O'Neal, like in Paper Moon, it feels like a whole like fantasy world. Like it doesn't feel very real. It feels like something that nobody would ever really encounter or like live. Whereas this feels like everyday life for a child. So it feels like very human.
You checked me then. I thought you said Rebel Moon, and I just
Oh,
like, I was just
no,
like I had
Paper
to
Moon.
I did like a double take. I was like,
I said that because people talk about Tatum O'Neal being like the best child performance ever in that movie,
Right.
and she's fantastic, but it's just very different. It feels like a very unrealistic movie, like a situation that would not really happen in modern world. So this one feels much more relatable, I think. So
gotcha.
Should have been
awesome.
nominated.
Huh?
Should have been nominated.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. God, I
Come on,
feel
come
like I
on.
love the movie even more now that we're talking about it. So we'll jump into section 3, last section. Off to NOLA we go.
10. There you go. There you
You're
go.
welcome. I wasn't
give
sure if
that-
you'd know what NOLA was, Harry.
I don't, but I trust you.
It stands for New Orleans.
Oh,
I'm
of
gonna
course.
pull a Harry and give that an 8.5.
Hey, that's
Wow,
not bad. That's
AJ,
hey,
I'm hurt.
that's up there though. It's up
Plus, I can't do math, so you know what? 10. Why not?
Thank you. Okay. Thank you. I'm getting the respect that I deserve. Thank you. Okay, so we flash to New Orleans and we see them doing more interviews, and they have wouldn't you guessed it, brought Jesse along for the ride. So he is with them on this work trip. He stayed with him, went off to New Orleans with the crew, and we have more interviews with kids. I didn't want to put too many quotes from all the kids in here because they're all just honestly like so heartbreaking. I couldn't take it, but there is one about a kid talking about loneliness and how scary that is. And it made me cry because I feel like even as an adult, that is a very relatable feeling. So I just love that everything the kids talk about. I felt like I was like, oh yeah, like I feel that way too, kid. Like it doesn't, I wish I could tell you it gets better, but like I'm 30 and I still feel that way. So life's just always scary. The future is always scary. And then we have, I love the scene where Johnny and Jesse are like walking through like a parenting scenario, through like a book that the mom has to kind of overcome the issue that they had back in New York. I just love it. It's like they're walking through it like it's a scenario, but then they're sort of incorporating what happened to them back in New York to like really get past the issue and actually like get to the conclusion. He's like, okay, so should I try this now? And I'm going to try saying this. And it ends with Johnny obviously apologizing for his behavior. And Jesse also ends up saying that he's sorry as well. And I think this moment like really bonds them. It kind of feels like they've fully come full circle and really gotten past some of their hard moments that they've had together, which I think is really cool. And then you have Johnny, of course, just like, Jesse's like, can I sleep with you tonight? And he's like, sure, come on in. Whereas in the beginning, he was like, no, sleep on the couch. So it's like by this time, he's like all about it, totally down for, you know, having the snuggles at bedtime. So I think that's really sweet. And then I like this line that Jesse has talking about his mom. I can't remember the context of what they're talking about right before, but he says, I will never know everything about her and she'll never know everything about me. I think that's just like
line.
so wise. Like, what is this child?
I never heard anyone
then,
like articulate it like that. Sorry, Ash.
No, go ahead.
No, all I wanted to say was like I never heard anyone articulate it like that.
Yeah, it's so true though. Like you really don't know everything about your parents. You never will, and they're never gonna know everything about you. Like there's just some things that are personal to each individual that only they know. And it's just, yeah, it's interesting to think about a 9-year-old kind of being that introspective and like thinking about it that way.
Yeah.
Right.
And then one of the questions they ask in one of the interviews, which is my favorite question of the entire movie that they asked, if your parents were your children, what would you want them to learn? I could go on and on with my answer for this question, but I just think it's such an amazing question to ask a kid. And I think all the kids give like amazing answers there. And then we get to one of the best moments of the movie where Johnny reads this story, Star Child, to Jesse. And this is the last essay, I believe, that he reads in the movie. It's a bit of a longer quote. I don't want to read the entire thing, but I do want to highlight one part. I think it's like literally just perfection. Over the years, you will try to make sense of that happy, sad, full, empty, always shifting life you're in. And when the time comes to return to your star, it might be hard to say goodbye to that strangely beautiful world. So I just love it. I think that moment just even more connects them like forever, even more so than they already were. And then we get to confirm that Viv is going to be, I'm sorry, I skipped a part. I'm so sorry. We confirm that Johnny got between his sister and her husband. He kind of tells him a little bit more about how he kind of got into something that wasn't his business, and then with their mom dying, and they kind of discuss why they don't talk. So this kind of shows like a full circle moment, I think, where he kind of sees Jesse as like capable of handling the truth now. He's kind of gotten to see him handle the truth earlier in the movie and like handle it okay, I guess, or process it okay. So I feel like he's kind of at the point where he's not treating him like a kid anymore, and he's really treating him just like a person, which I think is great. They go to a parade. We have the great piggyback ride moment, which I think is even like on the cover on Letterboxd for the movie. Johnny ends up fainting at the parade, and Jesse gets really worried, takes care of him. We have that great scene where he's teaching him like ways of dealing with stress and how to like deal with feeling overwhelmed. Comforts him like in his own childlike, silly way, I guess you could say. But I believe this also are some things he learned from his dad, because I believe earlier in the movie we see a flashback of like him and his dad doing like weird things with their hands and their bodies, and I believe it's similar things that he's teaching him here, like coping mechanisms basically. Right. Which I think is really cool that he's like something his dad taught him, he's like helping teach his uncle at a moment where he's, you know, having a hard time. And then we get that great moment where he's Johnny's sleeping and Jesse records his own interview. playing both the interviewer and the interviewee. And he says, in interviewer voice, have you ever thought about the future? In normal voice, he says, oh yeah, whatever you plan on happening never happens. Stuff you would never think of happens. So you just have to come on. Which I was wondering where the title was gonna come in, and I just was not ready for how perfect that was gonna be. So yeah, that moment is just fantastic. And then we kind of skip to him finding out his dad's doing better. His mom's coming out to get him, and that upsets him. He's on the phone with her. He runs away. They're kind of walking around like a park.
This is the best scene in the movie. This is the best scene in the movie.
100%. Yeah, it's definitely it's very emotional, very good. So Johnny tells Jesse that when he's not fine, he can react and be real. It's okay to not be fine. And he says, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. And then Johnny just takes it upon himself to start yelling and screaming and trying to get it all out. And he's just like, I'm not fine. And he's just kind of trying to get Jesse to, I think, kind of understand that it's okay to like shout it out, scream, like just let everything out. And then we finally get Jesse saying, I'm not fine. And then they both are like, blah, 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 which is a common one that they say throughout the movie as well. That moment is just so special. I feel like I'm not doing it justice, but I don't want to spend too much more time on it. But that's the moment that I think you're talking about, Harry.
Yeah,
that's
the
one where they're yelling back and forth. Yeah. So good. Such a great, like, pivotal moment for.
It's a wide angle shot. And Mike Mills just lets them go. Yep. And it's just like, it's like continuous and so like I watched it twice, that scene, I rewound it and I just watched Jesse, and Jesse's like breaking character the entire time. But like he's just like kind of like laughing a bit, but then Joaquin's just like, no, guys, like keeping him going and stuff. I thought it was great. Yeah.
Wow.
It works. It works so well.
Fantastic moment. So then the mom arrives, time to say goodbye. Unfortunately, they spend a little bit more time and then they take off. And then we get a snip of Jesse's thoughts on his uncle. He said, Johnny's a bit strange. He's really fun. Makes me laugh. He might even be my best friend. Oh. Blah, 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 blah. Which it's just great. And then we end on them being back home, Jesse and his mom, and they're listening to a recording that Johnny sent him. I do want to read the whole thing if it's okay with you guys. I just think it's written so
by all means
well, and I'm not going to do it as great as Joaquin, obviously.
I would like a Joaquin nominated actress here. I would like a Joaquin impression. Yeah.
I won't be walking away while you read it. Oh, bam.
Oh, wow. That's definitely an 11 out of 10 right there. So.
Oh, thank you.
All right. Hey, Jesse, this is Mozart, your intense and overly emotional uncle. When I woke up, you were blaring crazy opera music. I was surprised your mom had left, but you didn't seem bothered by it. You pretty much just accepted me. I showed you my recorder, but you didn't want to be interviewed. You recorded the beach, sounds of the city. I had to go back to New York, and I asked you to come with me. And you said, I'd love that. You couldn't sleep, and you were talking a mile a minute, and you had so many things to say, and I could never actually stop you. And I kept trying, and I wish I wouldn't have. I want to hear all your crazy thoughts and cool ideas. And then we were in bed, and you asked me, are you going to remember any of this? Then we flashed to the actual conversation. It says, what? You said you won't. I said you, sorry. He says, what? You said you won't remember this, but I'll remember this, believe me. Jesse says, confused and afraid, I won't remember. And then Johnny says, I said, I hope you do. And you got so upset, so I said I'd remind you of everything. And then it cuts to the end. I butchered that last part. I'm sorry, but you get the gist. It's a great scene. I love that final line of I remind you of everything. So before I let you guys give your final thoughts, because I have talked plenty, I just want to go over a couple of my favorite Jesse quotes because there's some amazing ones in this movie. When he says, be funny, comma, when you can, period.
Yep.
Great. That's very stupid. You're just the stupidest, stupid person ever. Like, you have the lesser brain capacity than an actual deceased dead person.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. And this one's a conversation, but I think it's really funny. Johnny says, did you have your toothbrush? Because I don't see it. Jesse says, no. And Johnny says, come on, I told you to pack it. What, you didn't bring it? Jesse says, I didn't. Do you have trouble expressing your emotions? And then Johnny says, well, I'm feeling a bit frustrated right now. Like, I just love that because it seems like such an authentic, like, conversation. Like, Jesse's like, I know you're frustrated, but you're not just coming out and saying it. And then Johnny's just like, well, yeah, I'm pretty frustrated right now. I think that's such a like special moment that feels very realistic for an uncle and a nephew who are kind of trying to get to know each other. So that is the end of the movie. I love this movie. I was honestly so surprised at how good it was. I said a couple times throughout that I was like, wow, this really surprised me. I gave it 4.5 out of 5. I just think it's such a beautiful human story about human connection, and especially the connection between adults and children, how important it is to listen to kids and see their perspective and try to see the world from their view, and really just like listen and be attentive to what they're thinking about. And I just think that Mike Mills did it in such a beautiful way. The only reason it's 4.5, AJ, is because the first like 12, 13 minutes, it just didn't like grip me. But then once we got to LA, I was all there. So maybe on the second watch, I don't know. But that's my thoughts. So AJ, I'll pass it over to you. What are your final thoughts?
Okay. So just kind of wrapping all my thoughts together. I think the reason why this movie means so much to me is mainly because, and I don't really want to make this like a sad episode or anything like that, but like you always hear things like this movie felt like the warmest hug. This movie felt like a great big hug. I don't think I've ever felt this understood by a movie. And it feels like this entire movie um was leading up to that I'm fine scene. And this is where I hope this doesn't become like a sad episode. I do deal with some depression. I do deal with some mental health issues, and just hearing like that dynamic, especially during that scene, and really just during the entire movie, I feel like that was just Mike Mills just basically just saying that we understand you. Like, we might not understand what you're going through, but we completely just we want to try to understand you. And I feel like I feel like at that moment I just felt the most heard, because I've always just tried to, just kind of mask that emotion. Just try to act fine when I'm not fine. And, you know, there were just so many people in my life who did not understand me. And I just kind of feel like this is the kind of way that I would like to be understood. This is the kind of way that this is, sorry, I can't talk. This is the kind of connection that I would want to have with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Like, whether that's with a family member or with, friends, maybe a girlfriend. And I've had those connections before, but I feel like with this movie, it just feels like a friend that I've known my entire life. It feels like a friend that I've known my entire life and just took the time to just really just understand everything about me. And by the end, that's where I just feel like that warm hug was given.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like what I said earlier. It's not like that cliched, sworn enemies become best friends story. They start to warm up to each other actually pretty early on.
Mm-hmm.
This is more so of a like, look at how these people who know each other but not too well are able to connect within a short amount of time and start to like fully realize each other, start to fully understand each other. And I think that's what makes this movie like especially special to me, especially as someone who does go through depression and anxiety like that. Like, this was the kind of hug that I needed. This was the kind of support that I needed. And I'm sorry if that was all too personal.
No,
No, it's
never,
beautiful. I
never
just I love
apologize for
everything you
that.
said.
Um,
Thank you for sharing that with us. I think that's so amazing to have that like personal connection to a film,
sure.
because that's what movies are all about.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Never apologize for that. No, I want Ash to apologize for making me go second because I can't back that up.
It's not my fault, Harry, that you don't, have a profound thing
Have
to
what it
say. I
takes.
don't
Yeah,
know.
fair
I'm
play.
just kidding.
No, I love this film. I have given it a 4, but it's a movie that I recognize that my
Boo.
relationship will strengthen after each watch. It's one of those movies.
I'm not mad. I'm not mad, Harry. I'm just saying, meet me in the parking lot.
Hey man,
Harry,
if
I'm
you
not
come,
mad. I'm just disappointed.
yeah, well, you know what? I'm gonna lower it to 3.5 now. I don't succumb to peer pressure. But
Okay, where's that hang up button?
yeah, it's definitely one of those movies that I very much recognize. Like I said this at the beginning of at the top of the show that I finished it and I immediately recommended it to a bunch of people. So and I very much recognize this movie is great, and I feel like the more I watch it, the more I'm going to appreciate it, the more that my relationship with this film will strengthen. So it's just one of those movies. Like I originally watched Frances Ha and I gave that a 4, and then I'm now probably give Frances Ha a 5. Like it's just one of those repetitious. But a good little fun fact, Ash, because you kind of touched on it. Mike Mills, when finishing the script, he was having difficulty deciding on the tone of the film, like should it be funny or not. And his kid, who was 7 years old at the time, came up with the line, "Be funny when you can." Then also added, "Be funny, comma, when you can, period." So
I love it.
that came from Mike Mills' kid. So like that was a good little touch.
That's so cool.
But as a whole film, I think it's great. It's one of those movies where you can show it to anyone and they will at least respect it for what it is. You can't really watch this and be like, oh, it's boring. And if you do that, then go watch Miss Marvel. But I think there's a lot to take away from this film, and again, just to harp on to what friend of the show George Carmi said, simplicity is a true form of beauty.
Yep.
And 4 out of 5, and it could go to 4.5.
It better go to 4.5.
We'll discuss later.
And is I agree that the movie does kind of go through the simplicity, but I feel like it also isn't afraid to go like very deep or complex when it needs to be. Yeah.
It's simple, but the themes are really like deep and meaningful, and also like very real for a lot of people to connect to. Like you were saying, AJ, like you felt understood, and I think a lot of people can resonate with that message and that same feeling, even though it's focused on a child. Like we're all a kid to someone, and we all feel lost sometimes. We all feel lonely sometimes. It's a very like a movie that's really easy to connect to, very relatable on so many levels. So definitely simple, but also complex at the same time.
Big time.
With the emotions. So
big
The
time.
Bohemian Rhapsody of movies.
The movie or the song?
What?
The movie or the song?
The song. Why would I compare a shit movie to a good movie?
The song is top tier.
Movie's great.
We're not going to get that's for another episode. So that is what we think of Come On, Come On. And now before we end our episode, I think, Harry, you have something planned for AJ and I.
Yeah, introducing a new game to the show. I've nailed it. I'm named it. I'm naming it the Filmography Face Off. So
8.5 out of 10.
Hey, I'll take it. You know what? I'm grateful for you grading my pick. So that's sort of I'll take whatever.
How we improve, right?
Yeah, I think I'm perfect. But
10.5. 10.
There we go. That's the respect I deserve. But I'm going to give you either an actor or a director or an actress, whatever, and you do one by one. You got to name a movie with filmography. You can't repeat answers, and it's just going until you've run out of answers, and that person gets the point for that person, for that like director or film or actor or something. And I've got 3, so there'll definitely be a winner. So first one up, I want you guys to name Tom Hanks movies starring Tom Hanks, and this is feature films. This is he was a guest star in an episode of ER. Couldn't give a fuck.
Forrest Gump.
So I'm gonna give. I was gonna say I'm gonna give AJ the first.
What did you say?
Forrest Gump.
Okay.
Okay.
The Green Mile.
One sec. Let me just. Green Mile and Forrest Gump. Correct. AJ.
Castaway.
Correct.
Catch Me If You Can.
All right, you guys are going really quick for me.
What's the type of this, Harry? Why are you writing it by hand?
Because I've got all the list here, but then I'm doing the points.
Gotcha.
AJ.
The Post.
Oh, Jesus. Poster already came out this early, eh? Christ, what a shit film that is. Correct.
Toy Story.
Correct. Correct, Ash. Toy Story. AJ.
I'm gonna go a bit more obscure. Toy Story 2.
Nice.
Ooh.
Nice. Toy
I'm
Story.
gonna go even more obscure. Toy Story 3.
1 sec. Toy Story 3. So that's a point to AJ, point to Ash. Back to AJ.
Didn't he do a movie called The Man with the Red Shoe or something like that? Wasn't that one of his earlier movies?
The man. I'm going to give it to you. It's the man with one red shoe. I'm going to give it to you though. The man with the red.
Same difference. I mean, like, it's Tom Hanks.
Yep. I'm giving it to you. Ash.
Sleepless in Seattle.
Oh, what a fucking film, eh, Ash? What a film that is. Correct, AJ.
What's that called? Larry Crown.
Jesus, what a fucking travesty that movie was.
You've Got Mail.
All right, let's just.
Why don't you just wait and see who loses, and then the other
Because I want
person
to make sure I get the points right.
Oh, you want to see how many we got? Okay, I see.
Yeah. This is very much the first week we're doing this. This can be
New game, new, yeah.
Correct, AJ.
One of my most popular Letterboxd reviews for some reason. A Man Called Otto.
What'd you think of that film? What'd you give it?
I think it's poopy. Let me read you guys my review. It is short and sweet. Hold on. Well, I mean short but not sweet because I thought it was blah. Hold on.
Holding on.
The movie equivalent to Imagine Dragons. Really boring messages about as subtle as a child screaming the message while whacking pots and pans. Cheesy but not in a good, charming way, just in a headache-inducing way. No risk, too safe, not original. Think it's so much better than it is. Appeals to middle-aged white moms and only middle-aged white moms. And just forgettable. Only difference is I would still rather watch A Man Called Otto than listen to Imagine Dragons.
Yeah, Imagine Dragons.
And for some reason, that has 412 likes.
Damn.
Well done.
I have not seen it.
2 stars.
Ash.
Trying to avoid saying another Toy Story movie. How about Harry's favorite movie that he was upset with me when I drafted, The Da Vinci Code?
What a shit film that is. It really sucks. Ash.
Can't deny it's iconic.
It's iconic, that's for sure. AJ.
I'll do you one better. Angels and Demons.
Oh, that is not one better, actually. That movie sucks even more.
I've seen none.
Wait, is he in Saving Private Ryan?
Yeah, he is.
I don't know.
Yeah, Saving
Is
Private
he?
Ryan.
Yeah.
I was questioning myself.
That's nuts. That's like one of his most
He
popular
picked like
That's
such a
fun
popular
too
actor. I
over
thought you were gonna give us somebody who had like 10 movies.
Nah, we
total.
want this one to go for a little bit, and then the last two are shorter than Tom Hanks.
What's the third Da Vinci Code movie called? Inferno.
Correct. That's probably.
Okay, now I will say it's Toy Story 4.
Toy Story 4. Correct, Ash. All right, all the Toy Stories are off the board.
Okay.
AJ.
Oh, we're still going? Oh, Polar
Yeah.
Express.
Yeah, we're going until someone misses.
The
Polar Express.
The
Correct.
Simpsons movie. You mentioned it earlier. Isn't
Oh
he in
yeah!
that?
Oh my fuck! I forgot about that.
Simpsons
Oh,
movie,
that's so good.
correct. Yep.
Want to know what else is so good? Big.
Oh yeah, Big.
Big's probably one of my favorite movies of his.
That's a good movie.
I
Ash?
feel like I know some that I've never seen before, but the requirement was not for me to have seen them. So
No, you don't have to say.
Terminal, I think, is one.
Yep. Great film. I don't care
He's
what
in
anyone
so many
says.
movies. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Terminal's great. You guys aren't even halfway through his filmography. It's nuts. This guy just fucking works and goes and hangs out with Jeffrey Epstein. AJ.
All right. Shout out to a segment in Come On, Show Me Philadelphia.
Show me Philadelphia.
Philadelphia's there. Yes.
Show me. No, you already said The Post, huh? Did somebody already say that?
Yeah.
Post is done.
Shit, I had a movie on the mind and I'm losing it. What's that one? The Captain Phillips.
Yep.
I've never seen it, but I'm pretty sure that's one.
Oh, you need to see Captain.
I'm getting stressed.
No, you're good. Correct. AJ.
It's also hot as hell in my office, so I'm like,
Yeah, it's heating up.
whew.
I'm stumped. Fuck. Gotta think. Um,
And to win, if someone misses, the other person has to get one. So it's like a knockout punch.
okay. Bridge of Spies.
Yeah, what a disappointment of a film that was.
Yeah.
Elvis. Disappointment of
is.
a role for Tom Hanks, that was.
Yeah, I went on a date
What are
to
you
see
talking about? That's the funniest movie performance of all time.
I went on a date
Like,
to
what the
see.
fuck was he doing?
I went on a date to see Elvis, and I left the film, and she said he was fantastic in that film.
So you left her naturally then?
Never saw her again.
Nice.
Didn't kill her. Ash. Was it Ash?
Oh,
Was it
didn't
AJ?
I
No,
said
it's AJ.
Elvis.
Sorry, yeah, no, sorry, yep. AJ.
Okay, gotta think. Mr. Rogers. It's a wonderful day, a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
Correct. Yeah.
Oh my God.
He's in like every movie. Like,
Is there any more rom-coms that he's in?
You've done You Got Mail. You've done Sleepless.
Is there any more animated movies? Oh my God, I'm blanking so hard right now. There's got to be like another Steven Spielberg movie that he's in.
There.
Wait, there's one that I'm remembering from a draft that we did. I've never seen it, but it's coming to me.
Yep.
Oh my God, it's not. No, there was the Captain Phillips one, and then there's another one. Oh my God, Sully.
Sully, correct.
Okay,
Well done.
that's the last. That's the last one I know, to be honest. So
you know what, Ash? You know what, Ash? You better keep your laptop open because you've got mail.
I already said you've got
You've
mail.
got mail's already been said.
God damn it.
Sorry,
No.
that was really good though. That would have been good if I hadn't said it.
That was good.
Damn it.
There's a couple that are on the board that I'm surprised haven't been picked yet. Wow.
Don't tell me. I mean, I know you wouldn't tell me, but don't tell me.
No, I won't. Oh, I definitely.
He's been in like every movie. What other movie has he been in?
I'm blanking.
I love that sentence. I don't know why I said it. Fuck. Wasn't there a movie where he played like a complete asshole that wasn't A Man Called Otto?
It might be a documentary.
A documentary? What?
I'm joking because.
Damn. He said every Tom Hanks movie that there is.
Do you give up?
I'm accepting defeat.
Ash,
Yeah.
do you have got anything? If not, then the point just goes to you anyway, because I don't know how else to.
I got nothing.
All
I
right.
said everything I could think of.
That's all good. Ones that were missed: Asteroid City.
Shit.
God damn it!
He was in Pinocchio, Finch,
Oh.
News of the World, Greyhound, The Circle, Cloud Atlas, Saving Mr. Banks, Incredibly Loud, Extremely Close, Charlie Wilson's War, Road to Perdition.
Too many movies.
Yeah, he's
Too
in
many.
League of Their Own was probably the one that you're thinking
That's
of.
like one of my favorite movies
Yeah,
too. Damn.
but Ash, you still get the point because you answered last. So,
Okay.
but that means
How do I forget?
You loved
movie
Asteroid
by
City
my-
too.
A movie by my favorite director.
yeah.
I don't remember him in that either. Until you said that, my mind would not have thought that.
So Ash means
Why did I forget A League of Their Own? I grew up with that
it
movie.
has it's the spotlight's
Same.
on you. So Ash, you have to go first for the second round then.
Okay.
Which is films directed, not produced, directed by Steven Spielberg. So
Oh.
again, this is features. This is no shorts. This is
Okay.
specifically feature films. Ash.
All right. I'm gonna go with my favorite, and I'm gonna go with Jurassic Park.
That's your favorite. Wow, I like that pick.
Mhm.
And it is in, yes, Ash. AJ.
I'm gonna go with my least favorite, Ready Player One.
Oh, AJ, I'm not even gonna get into this with you right now.
Oh, that's
Sorry.
I kind of want to say that's
How
incorrect.
do you do, fellow kids? The movie.
No, that movie's fucking amazing, dude. That movie wouldn't have been made
We're
without
gonna
him.
breeze on over that, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Jaws.
Correct. Jaws right there. Yep.
Like here, like the next person has less options.
Yeah.
No, he doesn't.
Hey, it's like what me and Ash are
Oh, he
doing
definitely
right
does.
now. we are in a duel.
Ooh,
I don't have Duel.
I've never seen that.
Did he do Duel?
Neither. I just know that's his debut.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Duel.
Duel.
What was that?
Did you find it, Harry?
No. One sec. I'm looking at it now.
It was his debut. You'd have to go like way far back.
Yeah, it says directed by Steven Spielberg. It just wasn't on his IMDb for some reason.
Yeah,
Oh well,
thank you.
correct.
Okay.
Yay!
Let's go with The Fablemans.
Duel. Boom. X.
Might be my favorite Spielberg. The more I think about that one.
Fablemans.
Honestly, I
Boom.
love-
So
Correct.
good.
I love Fablemans.
Oh yeah, my turn.
Yeah.
You know what? He saved Private Ryan.
He
So
sure
saving
That's
Private Ryan.
a doubling up from the last round. I see you picked a director that also has movies that we just went over.
Yeah.
True. He's worked with Tom Hanks so many times.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to avoid saying the same ones I already said before right now. So I will go with something different. And I will go with E.T.
God, what a good movie E.T. is, eh?
Love it. One of my favorites.
Correct. AJ.
You could say that E.T. is a pretty close encounter of a third kind.
Oh,
You could. Yes,
you
correct.
could say that. You could.
Ash.
Schindler's List.
Great movie.
Depressing ass movie.
Can't wait for
I'm
the video
gonna-
game.
I'm going to pick the movie that takes place in the same year as Schindler's List, 1942.
Is it 1942?
Isn't it called 1942?
I've got
Isn't that what it's
19.
called?
I thought it was 1941. I'll still give it to you,
Okay, cool.
but
Never seen it.
I'm not going to be an asshole. It's
I
1941.
haven't seen it either.
Yeah, it's 1941. Yeah, correct.
Any of the Indiana Jones movies?
Pick
Oh,
one
you're
and
just looking for like 4 points.
I'm
pick one
trying
and
to-
find out.
Temple of Doom.
Correct. AJ.
The best one, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Correct. Ash.
My God, I'm like getting like sweaty just talking about saying movies back and forth. Let's see. Trying to think of a more obscure one.
I reckon leave the obscure ones. I reckon just go to more like just crank out the obvious ones,
Okay,
And
catch me
then-
if you can.
and then you leave the obscure ones for when it goes to you're in the tight corner. You know, catch me if you can. Correct.
Catch me if you can.
Great movie.
I'm going to go with Almost My Name, AI,
Artificial intelligence.
Artificial Intelligence.
Because he directed like half that movie, right? Because it was supposed to be Kubrick, and then Kubrick died. Is that right?
I think, no, he directed the whole thing. It's just, I think Kubrick wanted to direct the ending,
Oh, right. Okay.
but then Kubrick died.
But correct.
I'm just
anyway.
realizing how late it is for you, AJ. I'm like, I'm getting tired already. And I'm like, oh my
11.
God, it's like 11 something for you.
It's 11:20 over here.
Let's see. Hugo? Is that Spielberg?
Is that
No, wait, I was thinking it's, sorry.
Yes, Scorsese.
Yeah, sorry. I was thinking wrong. I mean, you can boot me if you want, but I do have another movie.
Go
to
ahead.
give.
Go ahead.
Christian Bale's debut, Empire of the Sun. I think it's
Correct. Yep. AJ.
Well, Ash, you certainly put me in a lost world, Jurassic Park.
Correct.
Are you just like these are just coming to you just naturally?
Yes.
Man, I'm with like two people who are just so good with the quips. I'm not there. Not there.
You go back to this franchise you guys are naming.
I know. I to be honest with you right now, I am fully blanking on the other Indiana Jones movie, like full title.
Really?
It's like not coming to my brain
Okay.
right now.
Okay.
Wait, I said Temple of Doom, right?
Yep.
And you said
Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Skull. Oh my God, what's the other one? Wow.
It's gonna kill you when
Wow.
you find out.
Wow.
Wait, don't forget that. Go to another one. Forget that one.
Didn't he do The Terminal?
He did do the terminal. I was about to be like, start going towards.
I'm gonna sit here and think about Indiana Jones unless AJ says it.
Well, Ash, since you're in the West Side, I guess you could say that was your West Side Story.
Nice.
I just watched that actually for the first time a few months ago.
Great movie.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. Indiana Jones. Crystal Skull?
That was his. That was already taken.
That's his. Oh my
Uh,
God, what is wrong with me right now? I am gonna be so mad. This is like probably how I imagine. Who was it on Tyler's game recently that did not get her? Was it Anthony from
Yeah.
Raiders? I feel like that right now. I feel like when I find out Raiders are lost. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God.
She said
Are
it.
you
I'm there
kidding
like,
me right now by talking about that? I got it. Wow.
what is it?
Oh, I
Ash?
love that.
It's Raiders of the Lost podcast, Harry.
Yeah, but
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
that was so cool.
That's not fucking real. That AJ, you just witnessed that right here.
That
That's
was-
not real.
That's great.
I
I'm
have
done.
it all
I'm done, you
recorded.
guys. I'm going
Even
home.
Anyone
though this
listening-
podcast is already recorded, I have it all recorded.
Anyone listening, you don't give hate. Once the spotlight goes on, it's so hard to think.
I guess you could say he isn't wise like Lincoln.
Ooh.
Correct.
Ooh. Burn.
And I got the beard
Burn on
like
me.
him. Or did he not have a beard? I don't know.
He had a bit.
He definitely did.
He definitely did.
Oh, okay. Woo.
I feel like
Mhm.
I'm getting to a point where I got nothing in the brain. It's
Ooh.
like one of my favorite directors, and I feel like I've got nothing.
Mm.
AJ's like, I already have my next one.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you
To
got
be honest,
nothing,
I'm just like, I'm really sweaty right now, and I got nothing. So
oh,
I think I'm
AJ, do you have one to end that one?
You know, Ash, I think you need an emotional support animal, specifically a war horse.
Correct. Yeah.
I've actually never seen War Horse.
So that AJ takes that.
It's like the most bland movie of all time.
So it's 1-1. Ones that were missed were The Post, BFG, Bridge of Spies, Adventures of Tintin, Munich, War of the Worlds,
Okay.
Minority Report, Amistad, Hook, Indiana Jones
I love Hook. Oh my God.
Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, Color Purple, and that was kind of the big ones. But it's all right.
Okay.
1-1, and we go to the last round. Last round. This is another actor. I know you like your comedy, Ash. So
Same.
AJ, by the way, AJ won 11 to 10. I think the previous one, Ash, I think you won like 18 or something. It was like nuts. You guys went long. Name me actors starring. No, sorry, that are in the film. Again, feature film, no short film, nothing like that. Adam Sandler. Adam Sandler. AJ, you got to give me one first. This is for all.
You didn't pick one of my favorite comedians, but I'll take it.
I did start to do Paul Rudd, but majority of his filmography is shit.
Marvel. Yeah.
What? I mean, Adam Sandler's filmography is not much better.
But I mean, like, it's like majority of Paul Rudd's filmography I've never heard of. Like, so it was like that. But yeah,
Well,
AJ.
I know you probably have heard of Pixels.
I sure have. I love Pixels.
Me-
Such a crazy one for the first pick.
It's a wild one.
Pixels is like one of the worst movies I've ever seen. Like, I was complaining to my friends on Discord over it because it somehow came into the conversation.
Ash.
I'm gonna go with Big Daddy, which is my favorite Adam Sandler.
Great movie. Correct. AJ.
Punch Drunk Love.
Great movie. Ash.
I haven't seen it, but Uncut Gems.
Uncut Gems
Yeah.
is in there. Yes, correct.
Uncut Gems.
AJ.
Ooh, I'm gonna go. I'm certainly like this right now. Happy Gilmore.
Correct. Probably my favorite Gilmore.
Great.
Probably my favorite Adam Sandler comedy.
The Wedding Singer.
Great movie. Correct. AJ.
Might be the worst movie I've ever seen. Going Overboard.
That was
Actually, no, second worst movie I've ever seen.
That was his
The
first
worst
film.
movie you ever seen is Jack and Jill.
No.
I'm just kidding. I don't know, but that's my pick.
Is that what you're picking, Ash?
Yeah.
Correct. AJ.
Hubie Halloween.
I haven't even seen that.
It's a terrible movie.
It
Ash.
is.
Mr. Deeds.
That's a great
A
movie.
beautiful Winona Ryder.
That's a great goddamn movie.
Sandy Wexler, the movie where he's literally talking like this the entire movie.
That's the one. Ash.
Billy Madison.
Correct. AJ.
The Do-Over. I'm just picking his Netflix movies.
I haven't even seen any of those.
Do over.
Uh-huh.
Correct.
They're torture. They're like grade A torture.
I respect him. He's doing he's just having fun and he's earning millions.
Sure.
51st Dates.
That is one of my favorite movies of all time. I love 50 First Dates.
I love Drew Barrymore.
AJ.
It is not the Magnificent Seven. Instead, the Ridiculous Six.
Correct.
You're just coming up with these nonstop.
They sound like
Yep.
fake titles, but they're real.
Yep.
Ash.
Let's see. Just give me a second. I'm getting there. Just Go With It with Jennifer Aniston.
Correct. AJ.
Ash, I can't just go with it because you don't mess with the Zohan.
Ooh.
Correct.
Well, how about I now pronounce you Chuck and Larry, or what's that one called?
Yeah, I now pronounce you Chuck and Larry. AJ.
Top tier. Oh, what's the other Netflix one that he did? Oh, you're not invited to my bat mitzvah.
Correct. I enjoyed that movie.
That movie's
Sorry,
alright.
I got it out. I had to shout it out.
Wait,
while I
what'd you
was
say?
thinking about it. My bad. I said Spaceman.
Spaceman? Correct.
He said Netflix, and I was like, "Ooh, I thought of one. I have
Yeah,
to
the
get
giant
it out
space
before I
spider.
bought it."
Yeah.
You know, Ash, I was a little disappointed with Spaceman, so much so that it put me in anger management.
Dude.
Wow, that's the best one yet.
Anger
Round of
management.
applause.
Correct.
Round of applause.
Oh,
Love that.
When you
to be
start,
fair, I
I'm
like
like
Spaceman.
I'm like scanning the filmography list that I have here, and I'm like trying to see where you're going with it every time.
You're like, it's never what I'm thinking.
Like,
Okay, anger management. What's next? God, Adam Sandler is in so many movies.
mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm trying to remember all my favorites. Where to go?
A couple of series as well that you guys haven't touched on yet.
A what?
A couple of series that you guys haven't touched on yet.
Oh, series, huh?
Series.
Well,
Like
all that's coming to
cameos?
my mind right now is the murder mystery movie with him and Jennifer Aniston. Is it just called Murder Mystery?
Yep. Great title.
The first one.
Done.
Crap. I had a quip, but now I'm blanking on it.
How dare you?
I'm sorry. I made a severe and continuous lapse of my judgment, and I don't expect to be forgiven. I'm simply here to apologize. Just like you should apologize for grown-ups.
There we go.
Oh,
I hate that movie.
I will not apologize for it, but I will apologize for grown-ups too,
Correct.
because
Which is
that's
even worse.
what I'm gonna pick.
AJ.
Oh, damn. You know, Harry, since you live in a different country, do you speak Spanglish?
That's racist. Yes.
That was a good pull there.
I like-
Spanglish. I
I like
forgot about that
I
movie.
like Spanglish.
He's in one more movie with Drew Barrymore. Blended.
Correct.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
waiting for you to get that one. AJ. You guys are 13-13 at the moment.
You know what? I'm very sorry for my previous joke. I think I really just need to go back to school, just like Billy Madison.
I already said Billy
Madison's
Madison.
Oh, God damn it.
You have the best quips, and it's like a movie I've already taken, but I
Damn it.
appreciate it.
Yeah. Gotta keep thinking. You know what? The fact that you already said it is making me really sad. I just want it to rain over me.
Great movie. Great movie.
Damn it.
It is a good movie.
Correct.
Is that Murder Mystery 2 movie already out? Is that an acceptable pick?
That's an acceptable pick.
That's all I got right now. I'm
Nah.
taking the sequels.
Done. AJ.
I know didn't he also do another sequel? I'm blanking.
There's
I'm blanking.
one series in here that hasn't been touched on.
One series?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. Hotel Transylvania.
Correct.
I got a deep cut here. 8 Crazy Nights.
Great movie. Great goddamn movie.
I watch it like every Christmas season.
AJ.
I haven't seen that movie in forever. Especially not as much as Hotel Transylvania 2.
Correct.
Is there a Hotel Transylvania 3?
There is. And that's the series done. I thought that I was like, it has to be.
It just worked out perfectly where I got the third one. That was, we didn't plan it that way. It just kind of worked out.
Yeah, nice. AJ.
Oh, is it my
Alright.
turn? Oh, yeah, yeah.
It's going great. You guys have
You know
named
what?
32 so far. That's pretty good.
You know what? Like, reminiscing about all these Adam Sandler movies are making me really, really just sick. It's making me go green, just like his character Leo.
Yeah, that was an absolute stretch, but yeah, that's correct. Correct.
Oh, I don't know if I know anymore.
Think back to the 90s. 90s Sandler.
He had more movies in the 90s.
Billy Madison, Wedding Singer, Big Daddy, Happy Gilmore, and another one. My God, I'm seriously so sweaty right now. I can't think. Been stuck in this hot ass office for 2 hours. It's making me go crazy. I don't even know. 90s Adam Sandler.
You guys have done well on this one. That's all I'll say. You guys have done well.
It would take me too long to think of it. I have nothing.
AJ?
Okay. I'm going to go with my favorite Sandler comedy. You know, one of my favorite candies is an Airhead.
Oh, I actually just watched that for the first time like a couple months ago. I had never seen it before. It's pretty fun.
It bangs. It bangs.
So
You got that fair and square.
AJ wins the first episode or first edition of
Congratulations.
Filmography Face Off. The ones that were missed were Hustle from the other year, the Merowitz stories, The Cobbler.
Oh, I love the Meyerowitz stories.
That's My Boy, Zookeeper, Funny People, Bedtime Stories. Click wasn't The Longest Yard.
Oh my God, I love Click.
Yeah, The Hot Chick. The one that I was talking about was The Water Boy. Little Nicky, The Animal, Deuce Bigelow's.
Jesus Christ, I missed so many.
You can't do it.
But you guys got a total of 34 named. That's unreal.
Nice.
Well done. So
Great job, Tess.
over back to you, Ash, to close us off.
All right. Well, that was a very fun game, Harry. Thank you for letting us be your guinea pigs on that. Congratulations, AJ, to winning the very first of that game. All right. Well, that is the end of our episode on Come On, Come On. AJ, thank you so much for joining us. It was so much fun. We'll put all your links. Yeah, of course. We'll put all your links in the description so people can find you.
Please do.
But yeah, thank you guys. And follow us on everything: TikTok, Instagram, X, YouTube, Spotify, Apple. And we'll see you at the movies.
Next time, we're watching next week.
Thank you, Harry.
No, I got you. Next week, we're watching Minari to finish off the month of A24.
Oh, great choice. I love
that. Very excited for that one. So yeah, we'll see you next week for that. But until then, I'm Ash, this is Harry, and AJ. Thank you again.